Man, well, I watched that first episode of How We Roll last week, and I was like, "Oh shit, maybe I should call this off." And then I watched the second one. I'm like, "No, this is fine. It's. I don't think I'll watch any more of it, but it's fine."
Wow, that affects our friendship.
You wish I'd called it off?
Yeah, we should probably do this on the actual show.
Episode 380 of the TV Dudes, recorded April 13th, 2022. Wait, that's your job? This week, we've got a lot of people doing some interesting work. There's the pioneering cooking show of Julia Child on Julia on HBO Max. There's cartoonist-turned-sneaker-activist Keef Knight on the second season of Woke on Hulu. There's a factory worker turned pro bowler Tom Smallwood on How We Roll on Paramount Plus. And then there's the motley crew of parolees on the Outlaws on Prime. Plus, of course, freelance archaeologist / grave robber / fist of vengeance Marc Spector on Moon Knight on Disney Plus. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick. And is this Mike? Can you hear this Mike talking?
And I thought you were talking. I hear the microphone.
No, I mean, I hear the mic is literally speaking to me and telling me to do stuff.
Your
No.
god of the moon is named Mike?
And he sounds like Christopher Walken.
Mike Knight.
Mike Knight. Nailed
Steven, put on the suit.
it. Look,
Let me have the body.
That's me, the Egyptian god of
We had
Khonshu.
2 TV shows this year featuring Walken, so I think he could still guest in Moon Knight. We got 3 more episodes. It could happen.
Sure.
And with that, we should say also, by the way, that you might notice there's only 3 voices. Well, 4 if you count Christopher Walken. But we are missing the dulcet tones of Kyle this week. He is home. He had time to record, but what he did not have time to do, what with baby stuff, was watch any TV this week, and he didn't want to drag us down. So Kyle will be back next week to talk about whatever other things are on the TV homework.
Also, I noticed we didn't watch anything with cars or British shit in it this week, so...
Yep, that's what it was.
How he's strangely
Wait a minute.
I mean, that's what threw me is one of these shows is British.
Yeah, The Outlaws is a British show.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, the Christopher Walken of it all really makes me forget how British that show is. Because every time he enters the screen, I'm like, who are you? Why are you here?
All right, let's talk about our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
I think I'll start this week. I think I've got the deepest TV diary, so I'll just get that out of the way, and then we can burn through the other ones. I'm making my way through season 7 of Seinfeld. I am almost to the season finale in which George murders his fiancée with bad envelope glue. So I haven't gotten to that episode yet, but I know it's coming. It was Rex Manning Day, so Megan demanded that we watch Empire Records, which I did, and this is my 3rd or 4th time watching Empire Records, and every time I watch it, I like it a little bit less. It's just,
Aw.
it's so damn 90s, you guys, and it's so dumb. The music's great.
Yes.
The music's great. The cast is good. The story is
So-
rock dumb.
Weirdly, and I feel like this is something that will bother you now or would bother me now watching it. Something that bothered my parents when I watched that in high school when it came out was how many people were in the store on labor. Like it.
Yeah.
The labor cost of it drove my stepdad up the wall.
That is what I said to Steph. I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe they wouldn't have this financial problems if they weren't employing like 15
That's
people.
exactly my step was exactly what my stepdad said when I was like 14 or 15 watching that movie. Maybe your store wouldn't be going under if you didn't have 7 people on shift fucking off.
Yes, and none of them working. They were all, some of them were dancing. Yeah.
Just there to see this person they don't even like. Yeah.
I did go to the theater and see Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was phenomenal. Have you guys both seen that?
I have not. I've heard nothing. Like literally everyone I know who's seen it has said it. Between it and RRR, I feel like the 2 greatest movies of our generation apparently came out in the same month, and I haven't seen either of them.
It was stunningly good. I was so impressed. You know when you go to a movie and you can't tell where it's going, and sometimes that's a bad thing. You're like, oh, it's not going. I can't tell where it's going because it doesn't make any goddamn sense. No, this is one of those where I'm like, they didn't follow all the strict rules of fiction, but it all came together beautifully in the end. So I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's my favorite thing I've seen this year. It's really great.
Very cool.
Caught up on Last Week Tonight, which had the truckers episode, which terrifies me. I remember our former partner in TV, Ashley, her boyfriend, now husband, used to always talk about how self-driving trucking was coming and all the truckers were going to be out of business. And now I'm like, man, I wish you'd been right, because we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Like you were so wrong about that, and now there's just like it's bad.
They don't have to worry about things driving truckers out of business. They're quitting themselves.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
they're
Of course
taking
they are.
they're taking that on, like, they don't need any help there.
But then the latest episode was about the data miners. I don't know if you guys have watched these yet, but
No, they look horrifying.
Yeah, about how many sites are following you.
Les, you know how you're always talking about Last Week Tonight is basically here's in detail a problem that we can do nothing about.
Oh no, we can. That's the worst part
But we're
about
not
it.
going to.
Here's the
But we're not
problem
gonna.
and the solution. And like I always finish each episode going, but John, hear me out.
What if we just don't?
Just don't.
Yeah. Well, episode 7 features John realizing that he had the money to buy some data mining stuff around Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Using pattern people who were maybe going through divorce or having balding issues, or who wanted to read Ted Cruz erotic fan fiction, and that he could basically pinpoint who it was, and he gathered all that information and presented the report, and then was like, look, Congress people, if you want me to not release this information, you might want to do something about it to make it illegal for me to do it, because right now I can do whatever I want. And I was like, holy
if
shit.
you think I shouldn't have this, I totally agree with you. Also, if this district looks anywhere familiar, you should be concerned.
Yeah.
Because he's got the whole map up.
I feel like I watched John Oliver blackmail Congress, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Like, he like basically like, oh, we want to make sure, keep it on the screen a long time, Jim, so that they can snapshot it and make sure that they can put it up with Google Maps to know that, yeah, I got their address.
Like,
Man.
I feel like John Oliver has not only taken on the mantle of like everything we want quote unquote real journalism to do, but also everything I want quote unquote like real hackers to do.
Yeah.
Like John Oliver's doing everything I thought Anonymous would pull off by now.
Yep.
Well, his idea of revenge is like, you know, when robocalling is like, okay, well, we're gonna set up a robocall to robocall the robocalls.
Yeah, like the guys you see who set up YouTube channels about like pushing back on scam centers until they have to change their phone number, which costs them money.
He made the Last Week Tonight a church and actually like fully, not like as a joke, but actually
that stuff's the best part of it, is watching him get frustrated enough to use business daddy's money to do fucking crazy shit, like buy people's medical debt.
Dude, I love that, because HBO is spending so much money they don't need to on the show, and it's betcha that's the least expensive thing they're making.
Yep.
I mean, he's on a green screen. I mean, he could have just stayed in the green screen void and kept throwing all of it at, you know.
That's why he can spend $300 or $4,000 just every once in a while for some petty revenge thing or donation thing.
Yep.
Like,
yeah. You want someone who's got both social conscience and a sense of the absurd, and that's John Oliver. So I'm still really enjoying it, although it is always
started with
Batman,
his first
the Batman
one. I
we
remember
deserve.
the Jeff the diseased lung of like,
yes,
we made our own mascot for you to use. Now don't be mad, but we already put him out. Like, we assumed you were going to say yes. Like,
we just went ahead and did it. Yeah, him taking on who was the mining
he
guy?
He started off doing
Massey?
this, and it's only gotten better.
Yeah. I also watched a couple Apple Plus. I watched the third episode of Slow Horses, which did not. I'm liking but not loving, but there were some big twists in that one. And then I watched the finale of Severance season 1, which, holy shit!
I haven't watched it yet.
You have not? Oh, okay. All right.
Not caught up on it.
Oh my God, y'all! This was a bonkers season finale, and I'm so glad they're getting a season 2, because they did not resolve anything.
God, that's what the thing was. Is I watched the From finale, and I was like, okay, I can't watch Severance right now because it's going to be the exact fucking same thing.
It absolutely was, but it's so good, and they revealed some big stuff. So yeah, it's super great. Watched the 3rd episode of Halo, which I'm still enjoying. Watched the 6th episode of Picard, which I'm also still enjoying. And my crush on Alison Pill continues to unabated because she is like, now she's in a red dress with the Borg Queen in her head, doing big song numbers that I didn't know she could sing, doing a big song number to distract everyone during a heist. So I was like, yep, okay, I'm in.
Okay.
Watched another episode of Minx, which I'm continuing to enjoy despite its protagonist, who's infuriating. And I think beyond that, it was all the homework. Nick, what about you this week?
Well, I'm surprised I have less on here since I had 2 weeks of TV, and you're only one. Gargoyles I kept up on, Eat Local like Les said, and Let the Wrong One In. I also want to just put a shout on for that great little vampire movie. God, I just love the dumb people in it.
It's so wonderful.
Dan, you're you're throwing up blood and you're burning in the sun. Put 2 and 2 together.
4?
No, you're a fucking vampire.
Yeah. Yeah. It has some of the best like punk bullshit to pull on vampires if you not just like what your douchebag brother would be as a vampire, but the dumb shit you do back to him. It's great.
I kept up on Rise of the Shield Hero as season 2 is coming back out. I caught the season finale of From, which was not a season finale. That was just another episode, and they forgot to put more of it.
Yep.
I watched Wrath of Man, and
is that that's the Guy Ritchie one, right?
Yes. Yep.
Not so great.
It's okay. It's definitely very. It's nowhere near like The Gentleman or anything. It's serious. Jason Statham and Guy Ritchie don't mix, I don't think. Guy Ritchie needs a silly Jason Statham to really shine.
Yeah.
And I got to the end of it for the end credits and did not realize Scott Eastwood was in that movie until the end credits, and didn't realize that, oh, he's the main antagonist in the second act. He's in most of that movie.
Didn't we just do this with Scott Eastwood?
Yes, we did.
We thought he was a whole other actor in the movie until he died.
I did it again.
You're like, well, he died too early. He has top billing in this movie. Fuck.
Literally, he shouldn't be acting. He should be doing espionage work, because you can't tell him apart from any other white dude ever. Like, he looks like all of them.
Watch him hide in a room of mannequins.
I watched Ghosts of War. So this movie is so good until it isn't. So I'm gonna describe to you the movie, and you're gonna be mad at me because it sounds cool, and you're gonna watch it how cool it sounds. But the third act isn't good, so keep that in mind when you watch it. The third act is not good. The second act is a haunted house where a bunch of World War II soldiers are hanging out and trying to hold on to, but the house hates Nazis. So while it's fucking with them, a bunch of Nazis come past, and then the house goes, oh, no, those Nazis aren't going to just pass. Let's make some noise so the Nazis come in here, and then we are going to kill the fuck out of some Germans. The house is screwing with them, moving stuff around, like all traditional house stuff. When the Nazis show up, this house goes ape shit and just starts killing all of them. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to guess that these are Jewish ghosts, because they enjoy killing Nazis very much. And I was like, this is the greatest movie in the world, until the third act comes around, where they explain what's going on and explain the haunting, and it's like, that makes no sense. That makes this whole movie worse. That sucks.
Because I love the idea of an Inglourious Bastards haunted house that just like it's low grade scary to everybody, but it really hates Nazis.
You can tell there's a twist coming, because Billy Zane is in the first 5 minutes of it as a random German soldier they kill, and they fist fight him, so he's plenty of time on screen. So I'm like, wait a minute, is that fucking Billy Zane speaking German? And then so he doesn't show up for the next 2 hours at all, and you're like, okay, so they didn't get Billy Zane to play a guy that doesn't speak English in the first 5 minutes. That's not how that works. So he's gonna come back into the story at some point for a twist. It's just that the twist is way dumber than even what you thought the twist might be. But it has Theo Rossi from Luke Cage and Jack Reacher, the new one. He's in it. And Robin from Teen Titans. It has some great TV actors in it that obviously needed a check. I also watched Death on the Nile, which is really good. I thought Scotty Wood might be in that, but no, it was Army Hammer. So
actual Cannibal Army Hammer.
Yes.
I was like, no, you look like the different one. Are you the one that eats people? Fuck, I really should figure that out. Which was pretty good. It's got that chick that looks like Margot Robbie from Sex Education.
Oh, so not Samara Weaving, the other one.
No, not Samara Weaving, the other one that looks like Margot Robbie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is super confusing because you're like, oh my god, wait, no.
Man,
does that also have Gal Gadot?
One of my staffers posted a picture that was like Margot Robbie's always great, and I commented, I'm like, yeah, I love Margot Robbie, and she's like, yeah, only one of these pieces is Margot Robbie, and I was like, god damn it, I know better, and I fell for it.
Right. I loved her and Don't Trust the Bee.
It's pretty good. I watched the 3rd episode of Halo and noticed that there's a distracting amount of non-child death. Someone shoot a gun. God damn it.
All the child death happened before. There was a child death in the 3rd episode, Nick. What are you talking about?
Which one? Who died? Remind me.
They kill a kid in the very beginning. Remember? They it's like the girl who goes to be with the aliens. Before she goes to the aliens, her would-be boyfriend gets beaten down by the evil guards.
Oh, right. In the little flashback, that was the only piece of action for that episode.
They kill a kid in the very first. Man, you're starting to get jaded here, Nick. You're going to need more and more kid death. I feel like you got to appreciate it where it is. They killed a lot of kids in Halo before we saw them. Oh wait, you have to know them?
It's got to be so sad that it's funny.
This is getting weird, Nick. This is getting weird.
Raising the stakes
here. I really want to know these children before they meet their maker. That way I can really laugh at their experiences.
Someday this podcast is going to be Exhibit A in a courtroom.
It really will. That, which photo would they use of you? Yeah, this will be the podcast.
Oh, don't worry about it. I already changed my name. You guys still think my last name is Tice, so.
That's smart.
It's got a very Rosa Diaz kind of. Oh, this apartment's burned anyway.
Yeah, this whole place is gone. I watched Morbius in the theater because I had realized since Iron Man came out, there's not been one superhero movie I haven't seen in the theater.
Wow.
I saw Bloodshot in the theater. I'm like, oh shit, nope, I've seen every one of them, and I was afraid to break the streak.
Well, that was in theaters.
Someone saw Bloodshot in the theater?
I did. I was the guy.
Was Vin Diesel's family there? Was it the one screening? Was this like Disaster Artist where you pay so that it can have Academy consideration?
No, that movie opened up in a bunch of screens. That's how it lost all that money.
Wow.
It was good so that someone, if no one watches a movie, then does it really exist? So I'm the one that's keeping that movie alive and existing.
But I want to be clear here, Nick. You could have gone to see Everything Everywhere All at Once, and you went to see Morbius.
I was hoping you would not notice that as far as
no,
because that was the embarrassing thing of I don't want to admit that I went to Morbius instead.
Did you find a cursed movie pass in the middle of a parking lot at night or something and it only buys you it's free tickets but to Mobius.
Let's be honest, all movie passes are cursed at this point.
Cursed at this point. Yes, if you find a movie pass, don't touch
it. Don't touch it. They're all monkey's paw.
How was The Living Vampire?
It's bad. I mean,
on a scale of Bloodshot to Morbius, how was it?
It's about Bloodshot.
Oh, okay, good, yeah.
Also, I finished off the Atlantis arc of Young Justice, like I was telling Les off mic a little bit.
Oh, I need to catch up. I'm way behind.
No, you don't. Randy, Les is right. Young Justice is now officially bad.
Oh, that makes me so sad.
So will Young Justice.
It's not even just that it's grimdark. The writing on it is, for lack of a better word, dumb and bad and lazy.
I have not caught up. I just like being right and I'm doubling down.
It should have been this should have been such a success story because it got canceled and then brought back years and years later. Same creative team, or at least the same. executive
It does
producer,
not feel like the same writing team at all. This
no,
is fucking.
it's been losing me.
It's amateur hour. Like
Yeah.
they have a whole thing of a setup where a clone, like they realize someone's a clone. Let me read your mind, and thank God that the villains discussed every part of their plan step by step in front of you in the tank, so that we now know what their full plan was. Because they didn't go over one single part of it with any of their other conspirators without you in front of them. And I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking stupid. And exactly the sort of thing Young Justice season 1 and 2 would not do.
Yeah.
Also, for the love of God, someone find Superboy in that goddamn space thing he's in. Because it's really boring trying to figure out, like, oh man, are they going to find... Yes, they're going to find him. Fuck, it's the Legion of Superheroes. They were promised in the last episode, and they strangely haven't shown up, so they're gonna come. I don't know why we're making this a mystery.
I was gonna ask you if he was back being alive yet.
No, they're dragging that out shockingly long. Also, Beast Boy is being just pissy for not an unjustified reason, but they have an intervention with him, and it's like, I don't really want to watch this. I want to watch these superheroes do superhero stuff, guys. I don't want to watch Beast Boy go through these, like, 7 stages of grief and depression, and
Yeah.
and like I want to fight. Let's see someone fight crime. Also, Robot Man is alive, just out of nowhere, and I was like, wait a minute, and they audaciously like, hey Gar, remember when you found my head in the bottom of that river, and I think when we all thought the Doom Patrol died on this mission, I know you remember it, so it's weird that I'm explaining to you in great detail right now. And I'm like, come on, just don't have him be... If you're not going to do it, now the time in between seasons that they skip over is now a hindrance.
Yeah.
If they're just shoving stuff in and not really earning any of these moments, because I haven't seen one scene with Robot Man and Beast Boy, and yet I'm supposed to care about this relationship that there is strained now. I'm like, I don't know them. Don't know these people. Yeah, I was heartbroken, really. I really loved the first, I think the first 3-4 seasons actually are... There's 4 seasons there, right? Or we're on the 5th season?
I've lost track. I have no idea. They kept splitting up
Yeah.
seasons.
I think particularly the Terra arc, the betrayal arc for Terra that they always do for Terra.
Yeah.
I thought they cleverly did it in the last one.
Yeah.
Like, I thought there was like a clever, you did it, so it wasn't like, because you knew you had to do it for the Teen Titans story, but you did a nice little clever twist on it, and I liked it.
Well, shit, I was thinking about catching up on it, but maybe I won't.
Or at least wait until it's all, so that you can watch it all at once, and maybe this pays off better.
Maybe I'll catch up on Our Flag Means Death instead, since everyone I know is in love with that show.
Yeah.
Les, what about you?
I did not watch very much TV this past week. Watched a bunch of Community. I'd finished up Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I didn't want to literally just start it on a loop. So I started watching back through a lot of Community, and I realized that I'd only seen the Yahoo season once, I think.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
of the episodes I'd watched
same here.
twice.
Yeah.
And the season before it, the repilot season after the gas leak year.
Did you watch the gas leak year?
No, I skipped over the gas leak year.
Good
more
call.
or less.
Good call. I've still not seen all the gas leak year. I gave that show.
I have seen it all, and I didn't hate it, but
I've watched it. I never rewatch it.
I gave it 3 or 4 episodes, and it lost me. I gave it a fair shot.
Yeah, I mean it is. I'm sure I'll go back and watch it at some point. It is more Community, but I watched a couple out of season 1. I skipped season 2 and I realized like season 3 is kind of my sweet spot for Community. Apparently,
yeah.
I watched all of it, but yeah, that was absolutely great. Especially, God, the Yahoo season's great.
It is. It was off some of people's radar at that point, but it was so good.
That's the one with Keith David, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And they end it really well.
Yeah.
The season before that has Mike Ehrlentraut from
yes,
Saul and all that. He's great too.
No, they spend a little while trying to replace Pierce. People.
But the last season, I mean, it gets so insanely meta.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one show that can manage bullshit like that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like they spend the finale trying to pitch each other a 7th year of knowing each other, and it just keeps doing the intro again and again with all their different
Hobbit. It's 6
Yeah.
seasons and a movie.
yeah,
And
it's just
a movie.
it's just great. So the people that do Eurovision, the song contest, have now done an American one, which they're killing themselves with this name. It's literally just called American Song Contest.
That sounds like it was actually originally Ukrainian or Russian translated into English and then translated back.
The Russian translation back into English.
Yeah.
American Song Contest.
American Song Contest.
The first thing that popped into my head was in Arrested Development when they had the charity for TBD.
Yes.
And like that's I feel like American Song Contest was the placeholder and no one picked a name.
And it got through production and was like, oh fuck, wait a minute, we never named it.
Oh shit, we did graphics for this?
Oh man, we're too late in the production process now.
Yeah, so Snoop's already hashtagged it. We're fucked here. So it's Snoop Dogg and Kelly Clarkson hosting this, and I am not a huge fan of American Idol type, like the best person you've heard sing on a break at a Starbucks kind of stuff, which I realize is where Kelly Clarkson first came from, but these are full-formed bands and shit with original songs. Like they wrote these and are here performing. And there's definitely something more. Every one of this, even if it's not the genre of music I like, which not all of these are, they're really well done. Like somebody gets up there and does like K-pop, like straight up and kills it. I'm like, okay, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I feel quite certain that's how you're supposed to do that. So yeah, American Song Contest, they are killing themselves with that name, is actually pretty fun. There's it's been weird, like Michael Bolton representing Connecticut, Macy Gray represents Ohio. Most people are total unknowns, but anyway, it's fun. It's on Hulu. I don't know what channel it's really on. Of course, for our upcoming Cage Match Patreon, which we'll have the bracket posted on Facebook, I watched Pig, the Nicolas Cage movie, which we'll be discussing.
Yep.
I caught up on From all the way through the season finale, which really just feels like one of those weird mid-season breaks. Like the way that CW shows just, stop occasionally for a couple of weeks for no friggin' reason. That's what the season finale of From feels like. I don't know if they really have a season 2, but if they don't, it feels outright irresponsible. Because it is a really cool next episode. If it were just another From episode, that shit was cool. As a season finale, it's not one at all.
It just isn't.
It just isn't.
It just not one storyline is even brought full. Not one character arc.
Not
is brought full
one
circle.
thing is closed off. It just raises more questions.
I'm glad that y'all are watching this. And at this point, it is I'll watch it when the whole series is done.
No,
on
when
Netflix.
it's done, it's great. If they bed down even half of this, it's awesome. But
it's basically like it's like Sopranos ending of like, wait, you just turned it off early. This isn't the end.
Right? Yeah.
You turned it. No, there's more of this.
But I'm glad I only watched 2. I'm glad I didn't invest all the way to find out that they didn't have an ending in mind at all. And if they come through, that's great. But
Sure.
man, I'm not at the point
monsters
of like
are great though. Real great monsters, real great concept. Like, still have no idea if they're gonna pull this off in a logical way. But
it sounds like I would have been immensely frustrated watching this show. So,
and then I also watched Flash.
Of course you did, because it's got its hooks in you.
Yeah, which they nobody should have to watch this. I'm just gonna spoil it. They just teased bringing back Ronnie Raymond Firestorm. They've had this like it's like they've just found a 90s effect for fire and like solarized it so it's kind of black and silver, and they've been using it for like 3 episodes as a big bad somehow. And I seriously was just staring at the screen like, God, I hate that effect so much, and it makes no sense how it works, and like it's like a grief vampire, but it's not, and they once again use a sphere to pull, like that's their only solution to every season's thing is some kind of sphere that pulls things into it. And then it spoke to Caitlin because it's Ronnie, and they had them have a relationship early on.
wait, Ronnie is back
as Firestorm. So I don't think it's going to be Ronnie back. I'm thinking that they're probably going to do some version of the Fury Firestorm,
the elemental
like,
Firestorm
storyline, like the Yeah, the idea that like there's a Gestalt kind of like firestorm thing that is actually separate
it's
from
not a good
them.
sign when Stephen Amell's cousin or whatever is too busy to do Flash Universe anymore.
I mean, uploads take
All right. This is a good reminder that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week is the first go at Cage Match as we talk about the movie Pig.
That's some pig.
We also have our $20 shorter level, so if there's shows you want us to throw in the rotation, you can buy it at that level. Give us a couple of ideas. Y'all, the man who brought us Big Dogs has thrown his gauntlet down for the year. I don't know what John Paul has in mind, but he's going to be throwing us some options here, I think.
Well, we also have a bunch already down the pipe that I don't know when we're going to set up from.
That's Max.
Max, yeah. As far as
the next one,
plenty of anime.
next one on that list.
there.
Next one on that list is House of Chocolate. Actually, it's a reality show about chocolatiers.
I'm down.
Sweet.
So that's in the mix at some point. We gotta get a week where there's not like 4 or 5 shows to watch, which has not happened in a while. Speaking of, let's talk about new business. We got a bunch of shows to talk about this week, and let's start with Julia over on HBO Max. Which I will just start before I take y'all's hot takes on this. I was not super excited about this. I thought it was gonna be a half-hour comedy. I knew that it had Bebe Neuwirth and David Hyde Pierce in it. I like Julia Child, but I'm not like a huge Julia Child fan, and I don't like biopics. I did not expect to like this, but instead I found it utterly charming.
It is very cute.
Yeah. What'd you guys
Got
think?
a big Miss Maisel vibe.
Yeah, I can see that.
I only watched one episode because it's not really my thing, but I had to admit to myself, like, this is really adorable. Julia is what you want the Minx main character to be.
Yes.
She knows what time period
That's what it was reminding me of.
And just like, she knows the inconvenience she's going to have to go through of like, oh, I need to get my husband's permission. So yeah, I got to go do this whole rigmarole, but don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
I was laughing that the biggest obstacle in all of these is like overcoming the reluctance of the man that is helping you by stopping whatever the thing forward in the, like, Miss Maisel had to divorce Joel.
Yeah.
She's got to like make it all seem like it's David Hyde Pierce's idea.
What's great is that, like, I thought there's a bit of subtlety in that, and that her husband is presented as a guy like, you might be like, oh, this guy's kind of a jerk, but you see like, oh no, he's super supportive, and you see later on when he's talking with James Cromwell.
He really hates television.
Oh yeah.
Well, but he loves Julia, like he really does.
Yeah. He's also kind of dumb.
Truly believes in her, and he honestly like he is, but he's also smart.
Yeah,
but
he's the
there's
dumb
a lot
smart
of
of
subtleties
like,
of this.
Like he's played so much. He's obviously been played so many times. She doesn't even like ask him straight up. She's just like, oh no, I already know the deal. I'm gonna have to put on this whole thing like I don't want to do it, and then it's gonna have to be his idea, and how brilliant it is that he encouraged me to do it, and his whole success story, so that he can feel good about himself. But don't worry about it.
And I feel like in the first episode, you get a lot of that. He's definitely a little bit of the bad guy, but as you go on, you start to see a little bit more of the like. He's advocating for her in ways that she needs to be advocated for, and also
they're a good team, actually.
When James Cromwell shows up as her dad, who I also found very compelling. He's kind of a jerk, but also kind of likable because he's fucking James Cromwell. But there's a bit in, I think it's episode 4, where Cromwell is like talking with David Hyde Pierce's character, and he's like, Hyde Pierce is like, you think I married her for her money? And he's like, why else would you? And he's so disappointed. He's like, you cannot see in your daughter the thing that I see, and that's sad. And it's such a great moment. I think there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
I didn't expect to. I mean, this wasn't on my radar at all. I'm sure it was going to be well done. The casting looked really on point, but I don't care about cooking shows at all, and so I don't care about Julia Child. I enjoyed the shit out of this. I got done with the first episode and was like, okay, that's so much more adorable than I thought it would be, and I ended up rooting for her in a way that you hit it on the nail on the head, Nick. It reminded me of the Minx, only I'm rooting for her in a way that I'm supposed to be rooting for the main character in the Minx.
Yes.
Well, because she's smart about it, of like, okay, I want this thing. I know exactly how to get it, and I'm gonna have to do some dumb shit to do it, but I want to do this so bad, and nothing is gonna stop me from doing it. That's what I love about her, is this confidence of like,
The hot plate scene and the cake scene in the first episode are so good.
it feels like she's a character that never doesn't get what she wants, because she's like, I want that thing. I'm gonna do I know exactly how to get it, and I'm gonna get it. There's no like, ooh, she's only pretending of the, ooh, can I do the TV thing for like a show? It's like, no, I want to do it. I'm gonna go do that.
She's already done it. Yeah.
At the same time, as they go on, I think they do a good job of showing you, even though we as the audience know it's going to succeed, we know she's going to be hugely prominent, but they do a good job of getting to the anxiety of, oh, this is crazy. There's no way this should work. And also the dichotomy of, she is a force of nature who always gets her way, but she's also a ball of anxiety sometimes, who needs the support of her husband, of her best friend, of her producers, whether it's the guy who's played Friends Kafka, I think, who is great here.
When they show her having just gotten her menopause diagnosis in like the first episode, and she's done the hot plate thing on the guy's show, and she's walking into the store to pick up groceries for dinner, and some like new mom sees her and says something at first kind of snide of like, that was so crazy seeing you on PBS with your, butt in my face on a camera plugging in that silly hot plate. But then she says, I cooked a French omelet today and it turned out perfectly. And you see her go from like the previous anxiety attack about her menopause to like immediately like, oh, and your baby's beautiful. Like she's just like, boom, in a great mood. And like, it's great seeing that played out in the character, but then also like watching like she realizes, oh shit, that gets me that feeling. I'm moving towards it like a shark.
It's refreshing for me, because I was talking about how done I am with things like We Crashed, where people want to just be powerful and they don't really care about what they're doing in order to do that, or like The Dropout. I love this thing of like, it's gonna be a success for her. It's gonna be the biggest thing in her life, and she's just as competent as all those other people, but she's only doing it because it's what she really wants to do. If this thing didn't make her money, she would still do it, because this is the thing that she like. I loved it. I loved being on camera. It was fucking awesome, and I'm gonna do that for as long as possible, because I feel good when I'm doing it. So fuck everybody else. Whatever they say about TV, they're wrong. I'm gonna cook on TV.
Yeah. It's delightful. I will probably keep watching this, and I did not expect to. And especially
me either. I'm gonna finish all of it.
I thought it was gonna be like a half-hour show, and it's an hour. It's a longer show, and I feel like that's maybe my one gripe, is I feel like they could have cut this down a little bit and had it paced a little bit differently. But there's nothing I look at and go, oh, that was unnecessary. Every time I watch it, I'm like, nope, that was good. It's all good. So let's jump over and talk about the second season of Woke on Hulu. This is Keef Knight, the cartoonist. It is his very, very semi-autobiographical, because I know Keith a little bit, and this is not remotely his life, I don't think, at this point. They went very fictionalized for this second season. So
did you know Keith?
Yeah, a little bit. He's a cartoonist, so I've met him at conventions and stuff.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I own most of his cartoon collections. Like he's a really interesting guy. But this jumped forward to 2021 and jumps right into like Black Lives Matter being a huge thing, and how that intersects with him, and him becoming a successful activist who also is not quite okay with all the woke culture, even as he's at the center of it. And I thought that was a really interesting thing to focus on for this season. Like that's a challenging thing.
I think it's a brilliant, because he's only been what they call woke for like, what's it, like 6 months to a year?
His mouthpiece-ness has so quickly outstripped his personal growth.
Yeah.
And it's just great to show that like, oh shit, he got way bigger of an audience, but he's really only been into this shit for a minute.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't know how heavily involved Keef Knight is in this, but if so, kudos to him for letting Lamorne Morris play a version of him which is not always very likable. Like, he is not always the hero of this piece.
Well, he's I actually I only just watched the first season just 2 days ago, in prep, and I really enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed the idea of I got what he was talking about when he was pissed in the first episode of like, why does every black artist have to have some sort of message in their art? I just want to draw cartoons. I just want to do this, and then suddenly the whole first season is about, yeah, but you existing as a black cartoonist in a successful field, you're never gonna not. It would have happened eventually of running up against a wall of your racism or whatever. It just happened to be that day you got, profiled by the cops. And too bad it didn't happen to you 2 weeks later after the deal was done through. But it happened now, so that's and
it changed everything. Yeah.
And I like all the black voice actors they get for the trash can and 40s and which one was Anik from the after party?
Oh man, I forgot.
He's butter or toast.
Right.
He's toast or butter. I forget which one he is. But they're all cast perfect, just perfectly.
Yeah. Well, and the second season, I feel like they dialed that down a little bit. I think the first season they were like, yeah, we're gonna have things talk to him, and the second season they were like, yeah, I don't think that's actually our thing. Like,
just the pin, basically.
The marker a couple of times.
The marker.
I think that's just because of the JB Smoove. You don't give up JB Smoove.
Yeah.
I do love Lopez from Lucifer coming in as the money.
Yeah.
In the second episode, calling his bluff on a live stream.
She was. Is that the girl?
She's the weird. Yeah, she's the weird. Morgue's assistant or whatever, Emmy, like, that takes the photos at the crime scene on Lucifer.
Oh, okay, that's right. I forgot about that. So that character, I thought they did a great job of, like, I didn't know where they were going. It was like, are they going to make her out? Is she going to be the bad? Is she the bad guy here, or is she going to be, the compromise? And I feel like they did a good job walking that line.
Yeah, I'm sad to see that what's her name doesn't seem to be, like, I think the contract fell through because they did a whole Patsy upstairs of like, oh, what where she went back to Australia and like, because of COVID, and then just didn't come back. Don't worry about it, because I actually liked her from the first season.
She didn't come back, man. She's not a boomerang. Yeah.
I loved the story arc this season. I don't know how much you guys have watched the second season. I burned the whole thing in a day.
I've only gotten to watch a couple. I didn't get to watch a lot of TV this week.
I had to run through season 1 first.
I found this very, very bingeable because it's half-hour episodes and it's one big story. And so I burned through the whole thing, and I thought the story arcs are all good. They give everybody something to do. His roommate in particular, the one who has the sneaker, who does the sneakers and stuff, I thought his arc was really interesting this season. The homeless artist that he engages with, like, that is a really good story. There's a lot of good stories here. I think it's a little scattershot on occasion. And I don't think it's, like, always hysterically funny, but it's real solid. It's a solid show, and it's entertaining.
Well, I like the joke in the first episode, or like the extended thing of he's run into that wall of his single issue has kind of run its course, but it's the only thing he knows a lot about.
Yeah.
So he's now insecure about it, and everyone's like, no, I just feel like you should talk about this other thing or this thing or that, and like, and it's like, but I don't want to sound like an asshole about and say something wrong about this one. Why is it so wrong for me to stick to one thing that I actually know about? And but you have to and I felt that pressure to know of absolutely everything about every subject of, like, a woke culture, and to feel guilty if you don't mention it or feel like you're dismissing it.
Yeah,
I feel like this show deals with some pretty thorny shit really nicely.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about How We Roll, which is about as far from woke as you can get. This one, I owe you guys an apology.
Pete Holmes going full Gaffigan.
So this is, I like Pete Holmes. I liked him on Crashing, and this was
he's like likability as a condiment spread. I mean, that's just Pete Holmes's brand.
The premise of this is it was based on.
I can't believe that's not Holmes.
It was
Right?
It was Tom Smallwood, a real life Pro Bowler. It was like his story of becoming a Pro Bowler, and I'm like, that could be fun. This could be kind of quirky and funny. And I watched it, and it is like Beige the sitcom.
It feels to me like an AI written thing. Like you let the Laugh Channel itself make a show.
Yeah. Well, it's a straight up laugh track too. When I heard that laugh track in the first few minutes, I'm like, oh no.
It's got, I mean, it even has the mom is from Grace Under Fire.
Oh man.
Like so the mom and Chi McBride really elevated the show for me, and the fact that Pete Holmes is like, he looks surprised to be in shows. I really, there's like a Truman Show. I think I texted you. There's like a Truman Show element to all of it. Like, I think they just start a show around him. Like, nobody pays Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
You just do as many episodes until he finally caves and says something kind of almost not polite about it, and then you have to stop.
You guys remember how Harry Anderson played Dave Barry for 98 episodes once?
Yes.
This feels like that if Dave Barry was less funny.
Yes, I feel like this is a dozen episodes, or maybe 7 dozen episodes in to a show I've not watched. This should be on at 5 p.m. in reruns already.
Here's the thing. I know for certain, I did not find this show, it's not offensive. It's, if I had to watch this or Welcome to Flatch or How I Met Your Father or even
I'd take this in a heartbeat over
even
it.
Pivoting, like this is better than all of those. Because at least it's got occasional jokes, and Chi McBride and Pete Holmes are both good. It's solid. But this is a show that I will never watch again. And season 10 is going to be hitting. And maybe that show is still on. Like Pete Holmes, this is the role he is going to die in, probably.
Yeah, this is some According to Jim television here.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, he had his HBO show. I just, it's puzzling to me when someone makes a career choice like this. I'm like, I guess the paychecks are good, but
I don't want to wear blue. Okay, Red Skelton, here you go. It
also, I find this somewhat mildly offensive in it is so aimed at the Midwestern, I'm not political folks. It is the factory worker who goes on to become a bowling star, and you could not make a more red state show than this. But it is not red state because they don't actually take any. There's no controversial opinions here.
Randy, his wife is willing to put pink into people's hair.
That's true. That's the boldest they get. Is that
you're saying it's not?
Maybe colored hair is
wild.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man, it's so goddamn bland. And I owe you both an apology for not calling this off when I watched it.
Eat shit and die, Randy. Apology not accepted.
Nick did not like Mayonnaise the show.
How dark do we want to do humor on this thing, just to going forward?
I know we got the bumper lanes up. Let's
okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep it Midwestern.
Now
you can't say anything.
No, I can't. Nope, I'm going for it. We'll edit it out later if I need to, but I had such a mental breakdown last year, and was in such a dark place at a certain point, and Les really helped me out of it, actually. And I realized that I'll always be dealing with suicidal depression and suicidal thoughts for the rest of my life. It's just how often I deal with them. But I wake up every day, and I'm glad that on that darkest day I had, that I didn't, pull the trigger on it, so to speak. This is the first day I regret that.
Oh my God. And you saw Robin Hood 2018 multiple times.
I thought to myself as I watched it, maybe life isn't all it's cracked up to be. Maybe I should have. Oh my God. I've watched.
I survived for this.
Let me check it out. All right. I watched 3 minutes and 21 seconds.
Man.
I don't know what it is about it, because you're all right about it. It's bland. It's not offensive.
Yeah.
It triggered me something fierce of like, life is pointless. We should all die in a fire and start life over again if we created this. Obviously, humanity was a mistake, and we need to try again.
It does feel like it should break down into a Too Many Cooks
Yeah.
like horror show.
I was shocked it wasn't part of Kevin Can Go Fuck Himself or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I was like, is this a Supernatural episode where like they're all trapped in this dimension, or did Family Guy cut away to this?
That green screen was shocking.
Oh, and it opens with a green screen bowling alley behind him.
Yeah.
Crowd.
And they don't play it as a dream sequence or anything unrealistic like that. You're supposed to
it's
buy
like he's karaoke bowling.
I was transported back to 2005 where this was like new technology for them and was like a show to like a show on ABC how it showed its money. They're like, oh, he's not really in a bowling alley, but man, we sure made that green screen look like he might be.
It's like Seinfeld Vision or Wag the Dog or something. Like, we just got 20 million hours of Pete Holmes. Tell me what you want him holding and what his wife and best friend do for a living. We'll make Untitled Pete Holmes Project a reality.
I'm like, I don't think I could watch anything with Pete Holmes in it ever again.
Wow.
I realized Pete Holmes was in a show called The Pete Holmes Show already, so maybe Untitled Pete Holmes Project already happened.
Because I actually like him, and he has this... he has a whole joke set up of how white jokes, how they're not funny. And I'm surprised he made a show all about that with unironically.
Wait, is it possible this is an extended Andy Kaufman bit?
Right. If it's that, I will applaud him. That is fucking dedication to it. But I don't think that's it.
If a year from now he gets up on stage and he's like, did you guys see the sitcom I made for a season before CBS figured out I was punking them? Like, that would be amazing.
At the 200th episode, is he just going to scream, fuck,
Yeah.
for like 30 minutes?
He's just going to go like, fucking idiots. This wasn't supposed to be a success. Fuck you, America, for watching this.
I have a feeling that that's what happened. It was more of like, he did Crashing, which was, for him pretty edgy and fun and weird, and HBO. And I think he was like, oh, well, they got canceled off from under me. I guess I'll go do the safe show everybody wants me to do. I think there may have been something there may be something broken in Pete Holmes' soul at this point.
This thing's going to run at 10:30 in the morning for the rest of time.
I don't know
Somewhere.
what makes me hate this more than Welcome to Flash or How I Met Your Father, but I do.
I don't either. It's definitely not worse.
It was excruciating. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like there may be something in it that like you feel insulted by its existence.
Maybe.
Whereas Welcome to Flash, I'm like I feel insulted by by what it was trying to do and what it so utterly failed at. This is doing exactly what it means to do.
Yeah.
It's just no one should be doing it.
The audacity of like how on purpose it is. Yes.
Yeah. I think that may be it. That may be the key.
I keep it in my favorite ball sack. Oh yeah. I get a feeling in my soul as I finger every hole, and as I roll the ball I cry, let me bowl it every day. I'm almighty Malachi, the bowling god, the spell rising gets me high. Kiss those motherfucking men goodbye. I'm almighty Malachi, the bowling.
All right, let's stop talking about this weird base show and instead talk about the Outlaws over on Prime. Did you guys watch this?
Yes.
I watched 2 of this.
I watched all of this.
I was very excited about this based on liking Stephen Merchant, liking the cast. I watched all 6. It's fine. I found it engaging enough, but I wanted it to either be funnier or darker, and it never quite hit. It's not middle of the road like How We Roll, but it is middle of the road in a way, I thought.
It misfits without powers, but they also don't become a gang I want them to, but they also don't have the Uncle Buck quite that I want them to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it more than I liked, but
It's not that the show isn't funny, but there's some serious consequences for stuff that happens. There is a big deal. Like, someone gets shot and gets into a hospital bed, and like one of the characters is like, oh fuck, I might go to jail for like the rest of my life off of this.
But at the same time, it's a fairly goofy show. Like their boss at the detention job, like she's just so weird.
Yeah, I like her. The writing in it I thought was weird because they don't get all the gang together until the very couple last episodes. And yet we're supposed to be like, oh nope, the whole gang, like they're sticking up for one another. And I'm like, wait, but you weren't all in on this. In fact, do some of you not know about the money? I feel like some of you
Yeah,
still,
not only you were in the room for the money.
like, I feel like some of you don't know the whole story on this still. Like, yeah, because I thought like the Outlaws, the premise was like, oh, they find all this money and they're gonna
the
try and launder
trailer
it,
looks
but
so totally
that's really
different.
only 3 of their stories, and everyone else has got their own shit going on, which is not uninteresting. It's all pretty good. I thought, what's her name, the influencer chick.
Lady, whatever, such and such.
I thought she was a great, probably the best I've ever seen of someone with anger issues and like almost like a bipolar disorder.
Mm-hmm.
She comes right back around most of the times. Like, I am so sorry about that. That was really bad. I'm really mean that I said that. But you gotta, you're so good. Like, she just is actually very nice when she's not scratching names into cars. You know?
Yes. I actually loved all these characters. I thought they did a good job of fleshing all of them out. Even right-wing douche
I
guy.
love that the influencer called it out at the end of like, you two are the same fucking person.
Yeah. I hate that kind of shit, but in this particular case, I was like, yeah, no, they're right. They did a good job with that. And there were some good reveals. The reveal about the identity switch that came, the reveal about the petrol bomb in her backstory. Like, there's some good twists and turns. But I guess ultimately the trailer promised a certain show that I don't think I got. Like, I wanted heisty.
The trailer promises some sort of bandits type Ocean's 11
I wanted
misfit
heisty
type
hijinks.
crew.
There wasn't much of that.
But
yeah,
I think they're trying to do too much and accomplish too much at once. Because everyone has got their own thing. Like, even the drug dealer we see has a family that he's providing for and has like this whole story to him. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, this is interesting, but it also is taking away from all your other actual main characters.
That was the other thing I felt. There were too many. Much as every character is good.
Yes,
every character is good.
But there's too many
good,
of them.
but there's too many. It's too much in 6 hours of TV.
You know how there's too many of them? You can't do an origin story with each one of them. You have to shove a bunch of them into origin episodes of like, okay, Stephen Merchant and
2 or 3
and Infants were also on the same night, and these people also at the same time. Like,
yeah.
Technically, Christopher Walken's daughter just tells,
and the I liked the drug dealer of like, by the end of it, I'm like, no, I get why he has to kill you. No, I get it.
Yeah, you're like, I really like you. You're a character I care about, but you know what? I get him. I see where he's coming from.
Who was like, you fucked me over. You set me up. Like, yeah, I did, and that was bad of me. But now that you took that like couple $100,000 worth of the money, I've got to take you out. So
you know what's worse? You know what made me feel worse was I even saw the point of view of the damn douche bro at the law firm.
Yeah,
I was like, man, yeah, this guy is clearly
Stephen Merchant is
criminal
not a good lawyer
at this point. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, no, you should be talking to him about this.
God, when Stephen Merchant talks about his cupboard of all of the like things he's lost or forgotten to say in trial or whatever that he can't. He's like, I can't file them, but I can't destroy them. Like, that would be a different crime,
right? Because that would.
And so I just have a cupboard that I'm afraid someday someone will open, and then that's the saddest fucking lawyer thing I've ever heard.
Yep.
Anyway, unless I bring in some new clients. Anyway, does anyone need a lawyer? Are you any good?
Are you any good?
Also, then every so often they give him a thing where he's good, like when he gets lady.
Oh yeah,
out of jail.
He's a terrible lawyer, but he's a pretty good terrible person.
No, his bullshit of like he knows the law enough to know how to break it and get away with it, like, but not to actually defend anybody after they break it.
If he hadn't kept tapping his fucking foot on the brake pedal during
oh my god
a blowjob.
Well, if he just hadn't driven off, like. That was not a crime at that point.
Well, no,
that's right.
Dude, they got nothing on you. They can't prove that.
They got nothing on you.
They can't prove that was transactional.
You may have a misdemeanor if you just give your license and shut up. And the hooker knows it.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, what are you doing?
She's not sweating it. She's like, oh, okay.
No. He's like, yeah, this happens. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And he freaks the fuck out because that's what he does. He freaks the fuck out. Yeah.
Well,
everybody in the show is their own worst enemy. That is also the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them is their own worst enemy.
Well, also he actually tells the influencer about the dad and like about it. They don't play that out for a whole episode or not, which I appreciated. And I was like, oh yeah, your dad told me to just fucking nix this. and
Yep.
she freaks out, but it's not unrealistic freak out and
Yeah.
not overblown, because like she legitimately has a disorder. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she needs some help.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
But also, Stephen Merchant's character, he blows multiple chances to improve his life. Like, he had so much good stuff fall into his life because of his, like, if he's the luckiest man in the world in some ways. Like, he got this community service, and he meets this woman who suddenly is a giant client. They're talking about partnerships, and then he likes her, and they like each other, and they're going to work on a festival, and then that's not going to work out. But the other guy's like, hey, just find a way to kill this, and you'll have all this money coming in for my family. And he can't do that either. He can't figure out the right move at any given time.
well, that's what I didn't like about the ending of this, is that they don't like. Obviously, they're setting up for a season 2 that I'm not sure they're gonna get.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that Stephen Merchant stuff, it ends on that like, oh boy, what's he gonna do? Oh, I don't know. They don't really take care of that.
Nope. Yeah, I don't want a second season of this. This was okay, but I don't ever want to watch it again.
Also, I appreciated that they got the Dracula actors from the Netflix Dracula and got them all together. Like, I love that the nurse Helsing is the Christopher Walken's daughter, and then the guy that was Dracula is just shows in on the phone of like, I'm gonna kill you every once in a while.
That's right. That's right.
Also, I'm trying to wonder exactly how British Christopher Walken's wife was, in order for the daughter to not come out with the most fucked up accent.
Yeah, I think that speech pattern's got to be genetic, right?
Well, he was never there. He left before she got the speech pattern developed.
Pip, cheerio.
No, I think that's like I don't know what Christopher Walken's real kids sound like. I'm sure they're on YouTube somewhere, but I just assume it's genetic.
Well, I'm assuming an accent and speech pattern is something you grow into, and you've had Christopher Walken and a British chick as your mom. Like, how British was she that she ended up like as like a Holland type accent?
She was maybe Mary Poppins style British.
She'd have to be fucking just the most aristocratic, like, yeah, Mary Poppins style animated British. Christopher Walken fucked a cartoon British person.
And on that note, you guys ready for dessert?
You bet I am.
I did not watch Moon Knight this week, so I'm going to step away.
Oh, all right. Okay. We'll
All
We'll signal you when it's time.
All right.
All right. So Nick.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about Moon Knight at this point?
Loving it.
Same. I was really skeptical, but man, it gets better with every episode.
As soon as you think that they're like, oh, okay, they're keeping this low key so that they don't have to explain too much,
then suddenly they change the stars.
Suddenly they're like, nope, there's a third personality. Like, and you know what? We're not gonna even show him. Who cares? Like,
no. Who knows? Who knows who he is?
Who knows who he is? He's definitely a murderer.
I hope it's Jake Lockley. I hope they're going to bring Jake Lockley in, because that's
I
the only
love
big
that
person they haven't done yet.
Mark, the one that has been doing the violence, we assume most of the time.
Yeah.
Mark is being possessed by somebody that he thinks is a fucking psycho.
Yeah. It just gets worse. It just gets worse.
It's just worse. And him and Steven are like, Steven, what did you do? What did it seem like I would do this? What did you do?
I also really love seeing the other gods. I wonder if I don't know if this is true. You know, I know they've kept this pretty free of the other MCU stuff, but I wonder when we started seeing the other gods, I'm like, are we going to see Black Panther? Because Bast is an Egyptian god, and I wondered if originally this was going to be like Black Panther was going to be the avatar of Bast, if they're going to bring him in that way. But I don't know. It just it felt like a natural thing to do. They didn't do. But I really liked all the avatars.
I think that they didn't really go into that for Black Panther.
I mean, for obvious reasons at this point, but I wonder if it was originally part of the plan or not. I'm curious. I don't know.
Hard to say. I don't think Disney goes that specific with their plans and keep their options open to keep really flexible on it. But
yeah,
I did like that they had a whole, what do you call it, like a trial for Ethan Hawke, and Ethan Hawke doesn't lie at all. Barely. Well,
yeah.
Because he's like, oh yeah, Khonshu, the guy that totally took a mentally ill person and is using him. What? Is this true? Well, yeah, but don't focus on that part.
Yeah.
He's still doing bad stuff.
I was wondering as I was watching that trial, I'm like, wait a minute, can't he just say, hey, let's go to where he is right now because he's at the Tomb of Vomit? And then they explain, oh no, even the gods don't know where she's buried. I'm like, oh fuck. So yeah, there's nothing he can pin anything on him. Like, unless the gods are watching him, they clearly have no interest in doing so.
Well, they took that like, oh, well, we're not going to interfere with humanity, even though we all have avatars for some reason. So
Yeah. I also I love
no
Moon
one
Knight-
likes Khonshu. Egyptian gods, humans, no one likes this prick.
Well, because Khonshu's a dick.
He's awful.
He's clearly a huge dick.
He just gets worse and worse. Like what he does with the kid.
Oh yeah.
Take him to the ledge.
He's just a kid.
He'll talk.
Where's Harrow? Where's Harrow? Praise Amit.
I thought he'd talk.
Oh, I really thought he was going to talk. Oh well.
I thought he was going to talk. Yeah.
Whoopsie daisy.
He is. He's like the always sunny moon god. He's just like, oh, I really thought he'd talk.
And Mark's like, okay, cool. I'm a child murderer now, but I'm glad that you like recognize it was an oopsie.
But we also get the thing where he like sacrifices himself to try and stop Amit.
Yeah.
Like he does have because basically he's like, tell Mark to break me out, and I'm like, man, Mark's not going to break you out.
No,
He's gonna be
dude.
happy to be rid of you.
This
is
wait.
great for him.
Unless Mark thinks that he has some sort of deal where he might still need to protect the wife at some point.
Yeah, he's gonna have to for some reason.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna want to.
He's not. No, he definitely won't want to. I'm like, if Khonshu thinks he wants to do that, Khonshu has not been paying attention to any of their conversations.
Yeah. I really like Moon Knight in the comics, but he is with occasionally he had one period where his strength waxed and waned with the phase of the moon, and at one point he could lift up to 2 tons. But in general, he's just a guy who's violent. So them turning him into someone who has like a healing suit and that kind of thing,
Yeah, he has
is really interesting.
powers.
I really like it. I really like the way they did it. Like
Some kind
the
of
thing that
powers.
basically, it's not that he can't be hurt. It's that he's got that Wolverine style healing factor because they haven't done Wolverine in the MCU yet.
Yeah.
And so I thought this is a really cool way to do it. Where basically the bit where he's being stabbed with all the staves and he just like breaks them all off.
Yeah.
Like that was cool as hell. We haven't seen that.
Well,
kind
it
of thing
shows
before.
that Moon Knight is formidable, but there is there is a reason that he's dodging bullets and dodging stuff, because as soon as Steven takes over for a minute and gets stabbed, you realize that Moon Knight just got pinned down. And I was like, okay, no, he still needs to still needs to keep moving. He is still vulnerable to stuff. He's not invincible, but he
right.
Again, I still love that Steven just comes out for a second and like, okay, everyone calm down. And then just immediately as he's stabbed, I'm like, nah, never mind.
Goes back in. Yep.
Nah, Mark, you got
tried.
this.
I love that Steven has the suit. I love that they gave him the Mr. Knight suit.
No, that's
such a good thing.
Great addition. Small addition that I think it is paying great dividends for them.
Yeah. But also, I like in this episode that we see that Steven is useful. He's not just this weird speaking nebbish.
Well,
studied.
They have a completely different skill set. Like it's not just that they are different personalities. They have different knowledges about stuff.
Yeah.
Steven can read ancient hieroglyphs and read star charts.
Yeah.
And like Mark can't do any of that shit.
Yeah. And it's I like the separation there. I think it's interesting that basically that Steven isn't just useless. He is very useful in the situation. There's a reason to let him out.
No, he's got a whole shit ton of knowledge about Egyptian gods and lore. So like, pretty useful during this mission.
Yeah. I'm digging the hell out of this. I am wondering, we're halfway through now. I'm wondering if we're going to have any other than a throwaway mention of Madripoor. This could easily be lifted out. It's not anywhere else in the MCU. There's no other reference to anything in the MCU. And I'm wondering if they're going to keep it that way. They have a hard time resisting not touching on something.
Well, I think that
I don't know what that thing would be.
Marvel's been trying to find this balance ever since they've started to do the crossovers of, okay, we want these to be standalone movies and have these be Moon Knight TV shows and Hawkeye TV shows and not Avengers TV shows because they would show up. But we also want to acknowledge that they do live in that universe and other people show up every once in a while because it's an actual place, and it's not like these people wouldn't have heard of a giant, the sky turning backwards thousands of years. And I can only assume that like someone is going to look into that, and whether it be a SHIELD agent or one of the Avengers or something. The Eternals can fuck off. I don't care. they can never show up again.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if there's going to be a larger MCU connection.
Because I was like, wait a minute, didn't we just talk about the whole God thing in the Eternals as far as the creation of people, and now we're doing Egyptian gods? It's like, Marvel's like, yeah, but whatever.
Yeah.
The Eternals didn't really make any sense anyway, so fuck it.
This is super good. Also, man, their bad guy, they've done such a great job with Ethan Hawke's bad guy.
Dude, you can't fault his logic.
He's one of the best bad guys they've had. I mean, he is Killmonger level good.
No, I can only imagine what Khonshu made him do, because he's like, he legit feels bad for Mark. It's not Mark or Steven that he's mad at. He's mad at Khonshu.
Yeah, it's not a bit. He actually is trying to help Mark.
It's not an act. He's like, no, I've been there. I feel bad for you. It sucks, man. Yeah. You are being used in a very personal and vengeful way. And that moment where he talks to him as the statue of like, I enjoyed the stuff you made me do. That is the worst sin I've ever created. But you made me. Remember this, that you create. Like, I love that Khonshu's vengeance is the thing that like, no. This is happening because of you. What you made me.
Yeah, you did it. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This is all on you, Khonshu. This is not anybody else. Like, it's basically a what do you call it? A defense for like all the other Egyptian gods were right that they shouldn't mess in human affairs because they they don't seem to be able to people very well. But yeah, they're using Khonshu and that effect a lot more than I thought they would.
Yeah.
Like, he's hanging out everywhere.
Like, I really like it. Yeah, he's hanging out.
Whatever, Mark. Just don't give him Steven's body. He'll never give it back. Idiot. Guy wants to not kill people. What a lame-o.
Wait.
What a buzzkill.
Is Khonshu just Dennis from It's Always Sunny as a god?
Holy fuck, oh my god, he might be.
It's Khonshu. Is Khonshu like one of Dennis's anagrams?
Man, I mean, Khonshu is a straight up sociopath as far as like.
Yeah, I think he might be.
Those infants in that ward sure got killed during that fight. Oh well. Vengeance. Whatever, it all balances out. I'm like, I was like, can I get the Pamlet for Ahmed again? I want to remember why I don't like the Ahmed option.
Yeah,
the baby killing thing. Damn. Okay, right.
It's the whole baby killing thing. Yeah.
If we could get past, if we could get past that, if we could just get around that one issue. Yeah,
Khonshu's clearly not super into not killing kids. He doesn't want to kill all of them. All right, well, that about wraps it up for us this week. Thank you to our listeners and our patrons, and reminders to your patrons that you can listen to us talk about Pig this week and the start of our glorious cage match. And if you're not a patron, just pay $1 a week or $1 an episode, and you can start listening to all the Patreon content, including Nicolas Cage, including our Tony Scott marathon, including any number of things we've done, including Nick making me watch horrible movies.
Yeah, we had Great Scott. What was it? I like the Shane Blackathon that was.
Yeah, the Shane Blackathon. Yeah.
Back in Black, I think is what we called it.
That is all available for you on the Patreon at patreon.com/TVDudes. And until next week,
Dudes up.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.